Hi everyone, welcome to our first What's New Lads Time to Talk podcast. Today we're going to be having a chat about our transition from uni to work, alongside what COVID has done to our job situations and kind of the opportunities for us as well. Hopefully we'll have a good chat along the way and some laughs as well. I want to just talk to you lads straight away. What situation are you in at the moment with your jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. I think COVID's been pretty hard hitting for me. Throughout first lockdown, I was on furlough, and then just before we went into the second lockdown, I lost my job. And yeah, just sort of been coasting through at the moment. The market is like tough, like so tough, especially from having like 1 year's like sales experience. I would have thought I'd have a job by now. But I've sorted stuff out. Like I'm fine for money and stuff like that, but it's been really difficult. But yeah, that's sort of like my situation at the moment. But yeah, I'm keeping positive, like making most out of the situation, and also understanding that it's gonna pass. Like in a month or two, I'm gonna, like, when things like ease up, I'll get another job. So I'm not too stressed, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. What about you, Pat? What are you doing at the moment?
Well, I'm still working at the moment. I've been working throughout. Literally, I was locked in for the first lockdown for about a month and a half, and I've returned to work. And ever since then, I've just been going to the office. As I'm an estate agent, we are classified as essentials at the moment. So I'm still working every day, still going to work, which I'm grateful for, because I know some people have, suffered through this COVID situation with losing their jobs and not being able to pay their bills, mortgages, etc. So can't complain at this moment, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah. JB, what about you as well? We'll touch on you as well.
Yeah, again, I've been very fortunate to sort of end up in the job that I'm in at the moment. There's a time, bit of a weird one, because when it first struck COVID, I finished a fixed term contract with someone, and I was looking for another job, and it looked like I was going to be able to find something. Then that hit. It sort of threw all my plans out of whack.
Yeah.
But the company I'm at have been very helpful, and again, I'm very grateful to them, because I managed to sort of stay on there for what was originally going to be an extra sort of 3-4 months in IT, which isn't really my area, but they needed help, and I was fortunate enough that they offered me that, and then now I managed to stay on permanently back in the finance department. So yeah, very fortunate, but strange way of getting there.
You and finance?
Yeah. I know it's count now.
Naim, what's going on with you at the moment?
To be fair, as you can tell with all the lagginess. It's been a bit weird. Kind of like Pat, I used to work in estate agents as well. And it just went kind of downhill. I was there after I left uni, and it started off well, kind of being an estate agent, only 23 years old. I was a bit excited and ready to make money, but
Mr. Moneybags.
Mr. Moneybags, but it's not like that. It's not like that. For real, it's not like that. Like working at an estate agent, even Pat would know. People look at you, like, I don't know if Pat knows, but people look at you and go, yo, you got money because you're an estate agent. But they don't understand, obviously, that's if you're hitting commission. If you're not hitting commission, you're having a rough week. Obviously, it's going to take a toll on you. And in the end, I went into, obviously, the first lockdown. I worked for a bit. I got locked down, and then I came back from the first lockdown, and it went downhill from there. But some other cases going on with the company I was at, so we'll keep that for episode 4. Bro, people in my area, when they go, yo, you're an estate agent. But I'm saying people, like, they look at estate agents, they think, oh yeah, you're an estate agent, you got money, but it's not like that at all. I found that the hard way when I went there. I was like, speak.
So I'm starting a new job on Monday as a business advisor for Volkswagen, which I'm proper excited about, to be honest with you. I know, boys, check me out.
Well done, Jim.
Check you out, G.
The only thing is, right, it's working in finance, and during my time at university, I was always going over my overdraft limit. So that's just poor from them, really. But I'd say, like, as well, during over lockdown, I was quite fortunate and also really unfortunate as well with jobs, because I had one job just before the lockdown started, and I lost that because, like, what was it? It was one of those situations where it was like last one in the door is the first one out kind of thing. And then it took me about 3 months afterwards to find another job in sales, which only lasted about 2 months before they fired me because they were like, "Nah, mate, you're just not good enough as a salesman." Hey, I was like, "Oh, right,
Jesus.
sweet." So yeah, and I didn't. Yeah, what was it? They cut. It was so bad. They cut my probation just like by 2 months short. I was like, "Oh, that's peak."
And just dropped
And
it
then
straight away.
and then yeah, literally. And then luckily my sister came in clutch and like told me about Volkswagen, but she works there as well, so kind of slid in that way. But yeah, so unfortunate, kind of fortunate, all doing well.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
got you to where you are now.
everyone seems like they're in a different kind of situation at the moment, and some people seem like it's got better. Some of you sound like it's getting worse at the moment. I mean, when we first originally left uni, it was 18 months ago or so?
About that.
I think most of us left uni at the same kind of time. Did you find getting a job at that time? Like, did you find it difficult from going to lectures every day and then going to work?
Mate, I had a 2-day summer holiday, then I went straight into work. It was so, yeah, mate, I remember the day that I left campus. I remember I saw like Chippy, Naim and Matt, because I was with my brother and whatnot, packed my car. And obviously I was like, oh, they're upset. But then I had the Saturday, Sunday. And then, yeah, I was up for work at like 7:30 on the Monday morning, just working with my brother for Mercedes-Benz. And I was just like, right, this is
Not
it.
quite Volkswagen though.
Well, you know.
No, it's not quite Volkswagen. Don't worry about that.
And then, yeah, I was doing that for the summer, working out in the heat in like 39 degrees, etc. On my hands and knees, no puns intended there. And yeah, it was just absolute hard work. And then I went into recruitment for like 2 weeks up in central London. Hated it because I just mate, weren't a bit of me. And then I found Gymbox. So yeah, I worked doing sales at a really nice gym in central London. And to be honest, I was lucky because I quit the recruitment job, and I remember I was walking around like central London the day I quit because I was like, listen, like, I don't want to go home yet. Feel pretty like shit because, you know, I've just sort of like, you know, quit a job that I thought was going to be amazing. And then in the space of like a week later, I had a new job because I just applied, went to an interview, and I was like lucky. Obviously, it was like coronavirus wasn't even a thing back then, but yeah, I was so like confident and had that sort of drive to go get a job. And yeah, within a week, I just found a job, and then I was there for a year. So the transition's been like easy because we lived in Sherfy, me, Josh, Theo, and Michael. Yeah. So we were sort of like still in that like little bubble, but also like went into like the real world, if that makes sense. And then obviously like we still had our like links to like campus and stuff like that. So yeah, it was sort of like easy. It sort of like coasted me in like easy. And then obviously when we moved to obviously like our new yard, I don't really like want to go back, if that makes sense. Like it's been quite sort of like blessed because at the time I thought, oh shit, I'm never going to see my friends again. But realistically, I saw everyone like 2 months later, and it's like we've never left. Do you know what I mean? The only people that I don't see are the people that I don't care about. So that's just like how it is. Like I think people need to understand that you'll always keep in contact with people that want to keep in contact with you as well. So it's been calm.
Definitely. I just feel like my situation was a little bit different when it came to leaving university and finding a job. Little story for you guys, for the listeners and people that didn't know. So when I literally finished university, like 2 days after, my dad had a serious accident, which put him in the hospital. And my dad was the only really bread provider for the family. So I had no other option but to find a job as soon as possible. I had to find a job anywhere that would take me on. So I started working as a painter first. I knew nothing about painting. I am Polish, but trust me, I know nothing about painting. Literally nothing. Like you can honestly. Then I went to work for GBK as a waiter. Can you imagine me as a waiter? Honestly, there was not really an option because at the time I had to help my family, so I had to work straight away. I didn't have that transition where I had that time where, you know, I could relax for a bit or something like that. I just knew I knew what I had to do, and I just followed the path that I thought was right for myself and for people around me, really. And that's how I worked my way up to where I am today.
I mean, my transition was a bit weird because I was still doing my master's and I got a job whilst I was doing my dissertation. So I started working full time when I was still kind of a uni student. So that was quite an odd one. I don't know if I'd recommend that, actually. I think I would have liked a little bit of time off just to chill, because those of you that have done dissertations obviously know that it's not the easiest thing in the world. So I mean, I wish I kind of took a bit of time out as well. But then again, I'm still doing the same job that I chose to do at that time. So I mean, it's all worked out for me quite well. I'm on part-time furlough, but there's nothing really going wrong with that at the moment. I'm still getting paid, so I'm not in a worse situation than I previously was. The main transition that I found hard was living with my 4 good pals. Do you know what I mean? We was all together in Sheffield, and then we kind of just all like went, and it was so weird not seeing them every day, not waking up, not winding them up. And then as well, you boys, like the transition from leaving uni and not playing football with you lot every other day, and like seeing each other every other day, going for a beer. I think that was odd as well. I think that was one of the hardest things, not seeing you lot every day, really. I mean, I don't want to tear up or nothing, but it's coming.
Luke, bring it. Luke, bring it. Bring it.
Bring it.
Manly men back, boys.
Cheer out, man.
But yeah, Chippy, what do you find? What do you find it hard? Because you moved all the way back home again after.
Yeah.
So did you find that difficult?
Do you know what? I would say my transition into the work life after university was probably one of the worst experiences ever. Like it was so bad that I would say it easily put me into a massive, like a deep, dark depression where I actually didn't want to be here anymore. Like I was bottling it up so much that I was actually like just not in the right headspace. So I had a job straight after uni as a bartender, which I had already been prior. And then I went on holiday for my sister's wedding, and I came back and they just completely like got rid of me, didn't give me a reason, nothing, just said goodbye. And then after that, like I applied for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs, and I couldn't get a single one to even give me an opportunity. So at that point there, I'm thinking like, right, like, well, I'm just worthless. No one wants to even give me a chance. So like, what's the point? So that would just send me into a spiral, and I wouldn't tell anyone. I would always just keep that just bottled up to myself. So it was just getting even worse. And then I managed to get a Christmas temp job as a sales assistant at Burton's. And I remember one shift they just like literally put me in a closet area, like really small, and just like making me put like hundreds of t-shirts on coat hangers just by myself. So I'm there alone with my thoughts and just thinking, oh no, this ain't good. This ain't good. I've essentially wasted 3 years just to hang up like clothes. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Nothing wrong with it at all. But for me, it was like, come on, man. Like, what the hell? Like, this is just not it. So then, mate, it was getting so bad, me trying to find a job, that I would literally like cry myself to sleep every night. Like, that's how bad it was getting for me. And the only person that really knew was like my mum. So in terms of my mental health, trying to transition from work to uni life was just terrible, man. It was bad, like really, really, really dark. And then obviously I got a job at the office working for a company called BI Worldwide. And then I lost that because of the pandemics, and that sent me to a spiral again. And then I got the job as a salesman, lost that, sent me to a spiral again. Like, mate, it has not been easy at all for me personally. But luckily, hopefully, this new job that I'm starting on Monday will be the right turning point, because I'm good now.
Crossed it will be.
Yeah, bro. This is a really good point. This is a really good point. Obviously, the whole point of this podcast is to get people to talk about, you know, things like this, and it's really important that you've done that shit. But I want to know, why didn't you tell anyone? Is it a case of like, were you embarrassed? Were you too proud of yourself? Did you think that it didn't like matter? Like, why didn't you open up?
You know what? Genuinely, I don't know, to be honest. I guess I just thought, like, you know, I'm a man. I can't be letting people see how I'm actually feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if people see how I'm feeling, or if I choose to believe that I'm feeling the way I am, then I'm gonna go down an even worse spiral. And by doing that, all I did was actually like indirectly send myself down a worse spiral, which was getting really bad. Like, mate, I was snapping at my parents all the time, talking to them like absolute shit. And I was mate, it was bad. Until I actually opened up and just like, I remember, I was with my mum in the car, and I just absolutely broke down about everything. I was like, Mum, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just in such a dark place. like everything, mate. It was bad. Although that was probably the best thing that I ever did, because that probably like inadvertently saved me, if you get me.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like the weirdest thing, like obviously we're doing this podcast to kind of show what real mental health looks like. This is ordinary lads, but ordinary boys from university. None of us are superstars. We're normal lads. But the funny thing is, like I see someone like Chip, and I might call him, maybe once a week, 2-3 times a week. We'd have a chat on COD. We play Warzone together. But I could never tell you. You mean Verdansk, but I could never tell you once that he had a problem. And we used to play together every day. We played together every day. We call each other, not every day, but it might be a week, 2 weeks. But we're still in contact. But I would never know. I would like you look at Chibi's face now, and he's a bit, but when you see him, when you can chat to him, but on the phone, like you would never know that someone's going through something like that.
I think it's a downhill spiral. What you said, Chippy, in that part, because like you said, like you were feeling it, and then you didn't speak about it, and it was getting worse. And I just feel like, from my own experience, I just feel like it builds up, until one day you just snap, because you can't deal with everything that the darkness really that's happening inside. And that's why we think it's what's new, lad? It's time to talk.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it.
I was going to say, Chip, one thing you said that sort of I related to quite a bit was that whole sort of thing of like, almost like if you do open up and say about it, then you have to confront it head on and you have to believe it. Yeah, it's very easy to sort of like, just be like, oh, it's fine. And like, then that goes into the whole lashing out thing and stuff like that as well. It's very easy to start lashing out, going, oh, it's, I can't believe this person's done that to me. I can't believe that person's done that to me. It's me that's like feeling like this, and it isn't purely, it's not purely your fault, but it isn't just someone else doing something directly.
Let's say one of the questions that we got from one of the followers on Instagram, we're going to plug it there, what's new, lads? And someone put, how do you keep motivated? I think I'm going to take that as, how do you keep motivated for kind of your transition that you had? Like, how did you stay motivated? Because obviously everyone's like in an okay place now that we're able to talk about it. But like, originally, how did you stay motivated finding a job, leaving your pals, not being able to see everyone every day? I'll ask Chippy, because Chippy's had quite a tough little run of jobs since he's left uni. He's only been out for 18 months and he's had, 4 or 5 jobs. So how do you stay motivated to carry on, kind of thing?
Do you know what? There's one key thing that I always say to myself whenever I'm going through a tough time, right? And that's like, I always say, like, look, you're going through a tough time right now, it doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Do you know what I mean? And that's what always keeps me going. It's like when I left you boys and I was really sad that I'm not going to be seeing you guys like every day. It's just like, I am going to see you guys again one day. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I look forward to. So for me, to keep myself motivated was like, right, I can either sit around or mope, or I can get up and like just say, like, look, like, I'm going through a tough time right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same tomorrow or the day after. You know what I mean? Tough times come, tough times go. All right. And that's what I always said to myself. And that's how I literally just kept myself motivated. Because even though one job application decided to reject me, another job application decided to accept me, so that's, it's that balance, not everything is black and white. Sometimes you are going to get a lot of downs, but most of the time you're going to get a lot more ups. And it's just how you overcome them barriers there is what you do. But for me, it's literally just saying, like, look, I'm going for a tough time right now, but my life could be very different in a year's time. Or I could always say to myself, like, one thing as well that I always do is, if I'm feeling really down, I'll always think of the things that I'm grateful for. Like, for example, I've got a roof over my head, good family, amazing friends. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff always keeps me motivated to carry on doing well.
Yeah, big up.
But yeah.
Well, I'm going to add, every dark night has a brighter day, boys. Always remember that.
Nice. Great
and that's my cheesy bit. I'm done. I was Tupac. You weren't me.
All right. I've got a few other questions. Wish you didn't go to uni and went straight to work.
No, uni was always the sort of like goal when I left school. I had so many opportunities to go work, When I was in my first year of A levels, I could have become like a quantity surveyor. 'Cause that's what like my mum sort of like works for or whatever. So I had these like other opportunities. I could have worked with my brother. Could have worked with my dad at the time. Could have worked for Volkswagen, like selling cars, all this sort of stuff, because that's sort of the industry that we're in. But I was like, no, because I wanted to do drama. I wanted to do acting because it's what I really like had a passion for. Genuinely thought I was going to be the next absolute Captain America. Failed at the first absolute stunt. So, but no, yeah. And then my sort of what I wanted to do throughout uni just changed like so many times. But like I don't regret it at all. I think when I look at people whenever I go home, yeah, they've got money in the bank, they've got a deposit for a house. I think that's absolutely fine. There's no time scale on like succeeding, like doing things at this particular time, etc. and whatnot. I just think everyone's on their own journey. Like and it obviously ties into the whole sort of like social media sort of circle, but don't compare your life to someone else's because they're not going to live yours for you. So why are you trying to live theirs? Do you know what I mean? So I was just, that was pretty deep. That, well done, Greg. So yeah, like I do not regret going to you because obviously I met you wrong'uns. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I've had like a bit of a tricky time after, with the situation that I'm in now. I feel like I've taken a few steps back, but I think at the end of the day, the work ethic that I've got, especially when I do, when things do clear up, I know I'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, and as many people disagree, having a degree puts you ahead of 80% statistically of the whole country. Do you know what I mean? Just because you have a degree. Yeah. So obviously, you can't teach other things like work ethic and stuff like that. But having that bit of paper has actually helped me. Do you know what I mean? Like there are some jobs out there that won't even give you a look in if you don't have a 2-1 in any bachelors. So no, I do not regret going to uni. I absolutely chuffing loved every minute of it. So.
I mean, I reckon all of us could say so much on that question, in all honesty, because we've all got a different opinion on it. I think at the end of the day, we wouldn't have met each other. A lot of us are now best pals. Like, think about my birthday. There was like 28 of us or some shit. Like,
I was only there till 3, Luke.
Yeah, Pat mate.
Yeah, mate, you managed.
Whose fault was that, Pat?
We couldn't manage it, but I mean, like, they're the kind of things like we made good friendships there. I think that again can speak about the transition from uni to work, is that we didn't get to see each other every day, but now I know it's COVID at the moment, but in a month's time, in 3 months' time, whenever it may be, we'll do that link up again, and it'll just be 10 times better just because we haven't seen each other in 7 months. I think it was August that we last saw each other. All right, so the next question is, what advice would you give to someone leaving uni now, particularly with the pandemic? I'm going to ask Naim because you're still looking for a job now, so you're kind of looking for a job at the same time as someone in the pandemic, although you've left uni.
Yeah, no, you know what? Like, I would say, last year trying to find a job without a pandemic was hard anyway. Most of the jobs you apply to don't get back. You go into stores, they would just literally rip your paper. They're going to rip your paper and throw it in the bin. The amount of times I've heard people tell me that, most of the CVs go straight in the bin. So it was quite hard. It was quite demoralizing, and it was tough. Obviously, keep motivated, keep looking. I got my job and I applied for over 100 jobs, and I got one that came back, and that's the one I got. Now with the pandemic, it's a lot harder. Like you can't get that first impression from when you walk into a store. Obviously, they kind of judge you. If they judge you well, obviously they shouldn't be judging you anyway. But if they do like the looks of you, then maybe you can get, an interview. Obviously, being online now with COVID, it's hard. You just have to download all of the apps and just apply. That's the only thing I would say is, fix your CV up, make sure it's up to date, and just keep applying for jobs. And hopefully, a few job interviews will come and you'll get one opportunity, you'll take it and start making some money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll add a little bit to that one. I mean, I think it doesn't matter what job you start at. Everyone has kind of a goal they want in the future, but I mean, you could do any job right now as long as you're getting a job. I mean, you could be doing anything. Like a few months back, the supermarket shelf stackers were the most important people in the country.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you do as long as you kind of just find something small, whether it's in a little shop, whether it's, I don't know, finding a job in any kind of different industry. But I mean, as like kind of just keep going, plugging at it, LinkedIn, sort out your CVs, everything like that. You'll be able to get something eventually.
I'd also say as well, the whole job, there's a lot of people that have jobs and they always say, you know what, I don't like my job, or it's not what I want to do. But what I would say is, right now, especially being in a pandemic, get any job. Obviously, the good thing is you're getting a bit of income. You don't know when the next job will come. It's about working and kind of saving up for your goals and saving up until you get. It's just basically a little like a pit stop. Basically, you stop there for a bit. You work for a few months, a year. You work hard just to kind of prepare yourself, get some experience, make some money with it, and then find yourself a job that you want to go into.
What I'll add to that, boys, is I think there's no shame in doing any job at the moment. A job's a job at the end of the day, especially in these times. It is hard for some people because I've spoken to a couple of people that are like, oh, we had to downgrade our jobs to do something that we don't want to do. But then again, if it's paying the bills, it's paying the bills at the moment. When things get better and we get out of this, you can start looking for something that you actually do want to do. But at the moment, I think having a job is a blessing. So we just have to be thankful for that, for those who do have a job.
I was just going to say as well, I think one thing to do, obviously the pandemic does affect it a little bit, but one thing that I sort of didn't do that I regret, I started out of uni on a fixed term contract. And this is only a 5-month contract. And obviously the idea was once that finishes, then I could find another job. But then obviously because I was renting a place, I sort of ended up putting myself into a bit of a corner. And that again, like that was another thing that sort of set me on a bit of a spiral in terms of like, I got to that point, I ended up spending December just before the pandemic hit until May, all of my spare time was going on job searching. And I was also working like 9 till 5, and I had very little sort of control over it because I knew there was a deadline on like, okay, at this point, I won't have a job. Just wish I'd been a bit smarter. And again, regret might be the wrong word because, I'm very thankful to where I am now. And the company that I worked for has been very good to me. But it was a lot of stress, and, it was like a good couple months of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to live in this house for the rest of the lease.
It's been kind of quite hard, like on your headspace on what you was kind of having to do.
Well, like I said, I was living with Greg, Theo, and our mate Vidler, and I would barely even when I get home from work, I'd barely even be able to talk to him because I'd have to be straight upstairs on my laptop trying to find another job.
Yeah,
and wake up early to go to work the next day.
Finding jobs, he says. Yeah, go on.
Take my laptop upstairs for a little bit.
Right, next question. I think I'll give it to. I know we've all discussed it a little bit already, but someone's asked, how long did it take for you all to find jobs? So just a quick fire one, kind of. Pat, I know you answered earlier, but go again.
So it took me about 4 days to find a job.
Right. Because
after
of your circumstances at the time.
Because of my circumstances and everything, I had to find anything I could. So the first best thing that came about, I was like, yeah, just give it to me, please. I just need to work. I just need to work, whatever it is, just give it to me. And that's how long it took me.
And then Chippy, what about you?
6 to 7 months took me to find a job.
Okay, so quite kind of the complete opposite to Pat, which kind of just shows how different it can be for different people. I mean, I'm quite similar to Pat. Mine was before I left uni. Naim, what about you?
It took me a month.
Okay, yeah.
Quite long.
That's a good answer. Cheers, Naim.
Took me 1 month.
What about you? Yeah, 1 month.
What was it? I think I'm trying to think back now. Yeah, I took I took 2 weeks
It's
off,
going to
went
take
to
a long time with
Thailand.
JB, innit?
Hey, Josh, get your numbers right because you work in finance now, so you can't mess up.
I was going to say, mate, don't
Well,
think.
I haven't given it a thought since this podcast, so I'm trying to remember. I went to Thailand for 2 weeks, and then I think after that it took me about a month and a half of searching, and then I found the job. But I didn't start it for like a month and a half after that because it started in like September time, I think.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, for my summer job, that was sorted out way before I even left uni. Like, I knew that I was like doing that. Even probably around like Frisbee time, I was like, yeah, I'm having like no summer. But then obviously, like when I came to London, I had a few weeks, went on holiday and stuff like that. But then, yeah, just went straight into it. So at the start, I had no trouble.
I've got one more question, and that is for JB. You do this one.
So I just forget about me if you want.
Right, so this one's quite similar to what we were talking about before, but how did transitions affect your friendship group from together 24/7 to going at things alone?
Yeah, I'll do that. Isn't it? Sorry, boys.
Yes, correct.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of calculated answers so I don't sound stupid, you know.
Oh, I've done
Guess
that.
it's backfiring.
You've done that stuff already.
Finance, so you should be good at it.
I was living with Greg, Theo, and Michael, which is obviously great because got to stay with my friends. And then, yeah, we did sort of have that whole thing of like, you know, 1 foot in uni, 1 foot out. But yeah, you do, the time-wise, it was definitely a lot different. It was definitely strange to adapt. I'd sort of, you know, I'd try and hang out with the boys as much as I could, but especially because I remember Greg, when he was working in the gym, Theo was working in the shop, we all had like, and Vidler was doing his masters, we all had sort of different time schedules. Yeah, I remember we sort of started doing like a thing of like, oh, okay, once a month, I think it was every month, yeah, once a month we're going to do something as like a flat together.
Yeah.
We're going to like go for food, or I think we were trying to go to an England game and just never bought tickets, but
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah, just something every month. Yeah.
Greg and Josh, that is kind of, you still live together, so you kind of still do have that friendship group around you.
Oh no, I fucking
yeah.
hate them.
Yeah, they're not friends anymore.
Cannot stand them.
I mean, it's a bit different because the only time like we talk is probably on Warzone. Do you know what I mean? Or we're talking in the group chat. We haven't seen each other like I said earlier since August, which when you think about it, it's a long time compared to what we was used to. I mean, even a year and a half on, we still talk in the group chat almost every other day or every time Chelsea lose, which is pretty often.
I laid it out.
I mean,
Rent boys, come on.
Oh, sharp, bubble blowing twat.
That's getting cut out. Thank you, Chip. Right, that was the end of the first episode of What's New, Lads? Time to Talk. Lads, how do you think it went for the first one?
I mean, it was difficult because we're not used to it yet. But I mean, once we go through a few weeks, I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, perfect. Everyone else, yes, no?
Yeah.
I think I'm just excited.
Lovely
I think I was just
stuff.
excited to see your ugly faces and having a chat with you boys.
Oh, really? So you don't own a mirror then? Nice one.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for everyone that was obviously follow us on the Instagram. We'll obviously like link it all in the description and stuff like that. Our next week's topic will be on our Instagram as well in the coming week. And feel free to obviously like send in questions, suggestions and stuff like that, because again, it makes the podcast really interesting. And then we can find out what you guys obviously want us to talk about as well. From us lads, it's been really, really fun. So we'll see you guys next week. Cheers for tuning in. Bye.